You're listening to Season 6 of the Three Angry Giant Fans of the Jet Fan podcast, sponsored by Carolina Beer Temple. Join us weekly as we complain about our team's dismal performances, the shenanigans in the NFL, and other assorted nonsense. We also give our pet peeves and answer listener questions. Check us out on YouTube. Go to our website, angryfootballfans.com, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours. We have a lot of fun doing this. We appreciate all the support. Go Jets.
So that is my favorite holiday song, and I think Giant Mike's too. It is the Pogues Fairy Tale of New York.
I knew we couldn't get through the holidays without it.
He had to do it.
Did you play the whole 7-minute clip, by the way, just to make sure?
No, I chopped it down to about a minute 10 or so, minute 20. Right.
I think that's the only time I listen to that song every year is at the beginning of our pod.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had a fairy tale. We thought we might get the first pick, and it was destroyed. So, we still have a shot. We'll talk about that. But, guys, I mean, Giants can't even tank properly. And we'll talk about the ethics of tanking and all that. But I don't want to root for losses, and I root for a loss, and then a win happens.
There was no question I was rooting for a loss. It was I think we were texting each other. I mean, we've talked about it before. Just what a bizarre dynamic of watching, your own team. And we've had this situation for a couple of weeks and then also for a couple of years now, trying to desperately get that number one pick. And you knew it early that you just saw things going the way the game, it was just going the Giants' direction. After all these years of suffering, and Novak, I know we're dealing with the Jets' history here, so I always feel like I have to use a caveat there, and be like,
of course.
But it's a miracle that we cannot get the number one pick with this recent decade of losing. Can't get it. They're always doing something enough to be second, third, up to the seventh pick, some bullshit like that. So we'll get into it.
Oh, it might be the curse of Tucker Frederickson.
Maybe.
I'll tell you what it is.
65.
And our non-Giant fans listening, and maybe Novak will sneer at this, but I'll tell you what it is. I figured it out this time. The Giants don't tank. They will not tank. They get into a 2-loss season, and the ownership doesn't allow it. The coaches don't allow it. And, there's some good in that. I like it. But when you play a team like we played against the Raiders, who just an open tank, just an open absolute, I mean,
egregious tank. Yep.
I don't know. I think tanking is different for different teams, and maybe I will get into that. I won't go into it now, but we'll get into it more, I'm sure.
My only thing is, I agree they didn't tank. Then what the hell was the prior week against the Vikings?
I don't know what that was.
I mean, come on. What are you doing? I mean, either you're going to do that again against the Raiders, the game you really needed to do that for, or not. But I don't understand. None of it makes sense. It's such utter dysfunction that I can't even begin to communicate. It's just, I don't get it.
So we are the Three Angry Giant Fans of the Jet Fan Podcast. Your host, Scott, Giant Mike, Cardone, and Angry Jets fan Novak. And before we get into everything, let's give a shout out. And this one, it might be our smallest town ever. So hello, Amherst Junction, Wisconsin, population 383. It was the junction between the Wisconsin Central and Green Bay Railroads, and it was originally called Groversburg.
Yeah.
It once had 36 businesses. It had 5 taverns, 2 hotels, 2 grocery stores, a dance hall, depots, feed stores, 4 potato warehouses, a blacksmith, a livery stable, a meat market, a bank, a hardware store, a car dealership, a post office, a school, and a turkey processing plant.
A lot going on.
Where else do you need to go?
For 380 people, like if a family of 5 moves in there, do you have to update the sign?
Yeah.
Like population 388. Oh, someone died yesterday. 387. Well,
I like that
little
there.
number.
I like that there are 5 bars. Like every group of 175 people gets their own bar.
Whenever I hear like it's Wisconsin, I think of Bill Murray as John Winger in the movie Stripes.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, it's Wisconsin. We'll just go in and out. It's like we're going to the Czechoslovakia. What's the big deal? You know, it's like going into Wisconsin. I got the shit kicked out of me in Wisconsin.
But again, guys, another town, Amherst Junction, that should have just stayed with Groversburg.
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
lot you could have done with Groversburg. One of the better of the Muppets, for certain.
That's right. I did like Grover.
Grover. So Giants Raiders, I mean, we touched upon this, you know, but the Giants win against a team that had their best player mocking the team for sitting him out last week, shooting hoops in his house in his basement. By the way, nice basement. He's got a basketball court in it. They also shelved Jeremy Chin, which they didn't really mention. You know, they put Bowers on IR. The Giants are going up against a team that has skirted the rules all year when it comes to spreads, you know, over-unders, and now tanking. And the league apparently doesn't care. And to Mike's point, he pointed this out on the text thread. He said we were going to get gaslit by the announcers about how hard these teams are playing. And they said that. They also said
Of
it about
course.
the Raiders.
You always
these
get it.
players don't
Yep.
tank.
You always get it, and I don't think players do tank, but that they're carrying the water for the NFL. They are absolutely taking a game that has zero integrity and pretending it has integrity, and that's sort of the definition of gaslighting. And you saw it coming from a mile away because it's the same thing they do in preseason, right? Don't tell these players this isn't a real game. Fuck off, it's not. We don't try to tell me something different, you know. You tell these Raiders out here that their team is tanking. Does it look like it? It's just such an idiotic comment. Players don't tank. The players that are on the field play as hard as they can. The tanking happens elsewhere.
Yeah, when the front office tells their best 2 players to stay at home and their
Yeah.
best offensive weapon to stay at home,
Well, I mean, I will say that if you're a player on the Raiders and Bowers and Crosby get benched, there's got to be guys that are going, well, fuck you. I'm not going to go out in there and give it my all. I'm not going to risk getting injured. When you're actually taking our best players off the field because you want something for yourself, F off. I'm going to go through the motions. I'm not tanking, but I'm not going to put myself at risk for an organization that isn't putting their best foot forward.
No, I think that's human nature too, Novak, right? That is just
Totally.
human nature. It's like they're sending you into war with about a quarter of your ammunition. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, and because then there's always like, you know, Bowers is benched. Everyone knows he's healthy. Crosby is, you know, pulled out of the game. Everyone knows he's healthy. So the other players are like, well, I'm not important enough to get benched in
Exactly.
this game.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
who makes the rules on
That's a
who
great
gets
point.
benched? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, when players do like not give their all, it's not called tanking. It's the coach has lost the team. So this one,
Yeah.
they didn't say that because it's Pete Carroll. They
Right.
can't
They
say
can't
Pete
say
Carroll
that.
lost the team. So
No, the team has lost the team.
I mean, God, that Raider team is. I mean, we know they're gross, right? But you saw there were just so many alarming looking plays that the Giants had room to just run around, and there were so many things about what the Raiders did. It did. I was saying that performance was worse than what we put out against the Vikings the week before. So Novak, you mentioned it. I was going to say the same thing. I'm like, what the hell was last week then with the Giants? Against Minnesota, versus this week. But I think when you're going up against a team in the Raiders that absolutely were the least amount of interest I've seen in an NFL game, an NFL team trying to win an NFL game. So I don't even know what to say, guys. It's like I'm exhausted. My gas tank is empty. Just from talking about the number one pick and what's involved in that game. And I don't know, man. I don't even know how to. I don't know how the league is supposed to even respond. I really don't.
Well, the formula is kind of easy for this next week. So if the Giants win, then they are no longer even possibly the number 2 seed. If they lose and the Raiders win, then the Giants are back to the number 1 seed. But here's the thing. There's like 6 teams or 5 teams that are tied with only 3 wins. Jets are one of them. Yeah. But if the Giants win and any of those teams lose, that moves the Giants up the ladder for as many of those teams that lose.
You could drop as far as 8 from what I read.
We could, yeah. If every single team that has 3 wins or loses this week and the Giants win, the Giants would pick 8th.
That's incredible. Shoot me if that happens.
Yeah, seriously. But at the end of the day, doesn't the NFL have to do something about this? I mean, come on. We are watching a team actually just fall flat on their face. Everyone knows it, sitting players, and we're just going to say, oh, well, everyone was trying, like gaslighting and the whole thing. I know we joke about it. They've got to do something about this. This can't continue. It's going to be every single year. And can you imagine if it were like a Peyton Manning type coming out? Tank, they might not have. They would have just said, we forfeit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just the next step. I mean, if they don't, for years and years, it's like, well, how do you prove it? How do you prove it? It's impossible. It's not impossible.
Not impossible.
This is proving it. This team is thumbing their nose and daring the NFL to do something about it. And will they do it or not? Because to Novak's point, if they don't, then next year, about week 9, these teams with 1-2 wins, they're going to pack it in. It's going to become the new thing. It's going to become the NBA.
And honestly, it's not that hard. It's not hard to fix. Do a lottery like the NBA did, but make it real. Don't do it behind the scenes where you can selectively pick the ball that comes out. Do it in front of everybody. If you're the worst team, you get 15 balls. If you're the best of the teams that didn't make the playoffs, you get 1, but you still got a chance to get the number 1 pick. It takes away all of that. It's not difficult. Fucking do it.
It's
the
really
NFL
not hard.
The NFL could do that really well. They could make a spectacle out of it. They'd have musical acts there.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
That would be a whole weekend event. They would do like 3 balls a night. They would stretch it like the draft. They would make it like a 4-day freaking thing. Yeah.
Tonight we're only going to pick the first ball. Tune in tomorrow.
We laugh. Someone's probably going to watch this pod and be like, that's a really good idea. We should make it a week-long event.
Seriously. Be like a 3 balls a night.
This year's lottery is in San Diego or Los Angeles or whoever's got the new team coming up.
They could do it for round 2, right? They could have it round 2 and 3 on a Thursday and Friday, and round 1 on a.
Oh, they would love it. They would love to do it.
The
and then they'd say,
thing...
trust us. It's all above the board. By the way, the draft brought to you by FanDuel. 10% off.
And that's sort of where I was going, Mike. I mean, you look at the Raiders this year. They're in Vegas. And they've twice now had games where they've kicked field goals to cover a spread. They punted to avoid an over-under situation. And there's not been any investigation of that. There's not even really anyone other than a few people screaming about it. We've pointed it out. We're like, where's the outrage here? The rest of the people are like, it's the Raiders. They got 1 win, 2 wins. Who gives a crap? But they're in Vegas and the hotbed of gambling, and this kind of stuff's going on.
We've seen it in every other sport. It's a matter of time. How can it not be happening in the NFL? If the NFL is the gold mine of all the other leagues and sports, the NFL is the one where there's the most money to be had. And you're telling me there's nothing like that happening? Yeah. Nothing. That's a strong stance to take.
Yeah. I don't buy it for a minute.
I don't believe there's any. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, and it could trickle down. I mean, a lot of times these leagues, the first pillar that falls is the official on the take, which I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Although I do like to pick at the officials, and
no,
I'm going to pick at the officials tonight too, but that'll come a little bit later. So Rappaport reported this week that Shane is likely staying. Now, if that happens, and I don't know if it will happen, I'll couch that in just a minute. But if that does happen, that shows this team has learned nothing about the situation that happened when Tom Coughlin was fired and they retained Jerry Reese, and they continued to go down this slide of mediocrity to even poor. But I will say this. Now, Rappaport last week also reported that the Giants were going to go for the number 1 pick and trade Jackson Dart and pick a quarterback. So Rappaport this time of year does throw some shit against the wall, but I'm also hearing this in other places too. Other beats are picking this up. Now, whether they're looking at Rappaport's report or not, Shane staying is probably the worst case scenario for us, but Novak will like it.
Cardone, I got to get your take on this because I knew that you were ripping pissed in the thread about this.
Oh, about Shane staying? That I mean it just I swear to God, I felt like just a shockwave go through my body, because this guy needs to be gone. He deserves to be gone. And I like Scott. I like your take with Reese hanging on after Coughlin, where it was just at that point we were just a dead, we were just a ship with no freaking captain, just navigating to nowhere, and that's what it feels like with Shane. I can't believe that there's even a report that this guy is staying. Whether I know you're saying like Rappaport. I don't know. Same thing. I take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times his reports he's just trying to get to the first to the wire, or the hot off the press, and whether it's even true or not. But if I don't even know how to digest the thought of Joe Shane staying on as general manager, because that really sends a message that this team is not going in a whole new direction. Because whoever that person's going to be responsible for hiring a new coach, for personnel, drafting strategies, all of that stuff. So it's a mistake. I think keeping Shane on would be just a massive mistake, and I don't think it would improve the fortunes and future of this organization at all if Shane stays on. Just not at all.
Well,
I don't see any. There's no positives to me.
You don't get out of the cycle.
No.
Because let's say hypothetically, which is very possible, you go 4-13 next year with a new coach and Shane. Who's gone?
Who's gone?
Shane.
Shane.
Right? So now you got to bring in a GM who is like, I didn't hire this coach. This isn't the guy that I would have wanted. And then it goes back to the coach is gone. And then you got to get another GM. And then you get another coach. And it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Like, it doesn't make sense. Either clean house or keep it what it was. But to leave this guy who has made mistake after mistake after mistake, salary cap hell, Deontay Banks, bad offensive line, terrible overpaying defensive players, letting people go that should have been let go. We can go on and on about the mistakes of this guy, and they're going to keep this guy around? Are they out of their minds? Who in their right mind, what decent coach, which is what you need, and I've said this 3 weeks in a row, what good coach is going to take this job to work for that clown?
They're not.
A desperate OC or a desperate defensive coordinator or an old washed-up has-been are the only ones taking that job. It's just so stupid. I don't get it.
If ever there was an obvious coach and GM, head coach, GM, like tied at the hip, it's these two jackoffs, Daboll and Shane, with what they've been put out, with the results that we've seen the last couple of years. Because not every time it's like that, obviously. But in this particular instance, for this current Giant regime right now, it just seems so obvious and clear to me that these two guys are a package fucking deal. They both need to be shipped off, shipped out, and just go away and never, ever show your face around Met Death ever again. That's it.
Yep.
Well, if there was one positive that came out of this last game, it's that they may have lucked into finding a kick returner in Deontay Banks, the one thing he might be able to do well.
And the kicker.
Well, yeah, the kicker actually. I was throwing shade on the kicker, and he looks pretty damn good.
Yeah,
So
he looks
far.
all right.
He's kicking well in a real pressure spot against a team laying down.
Yeah.
Wait till the first 38 yarder, like the game is riding on it. We'll see what happens.
At least he's making extra points.
That's fair.
We saw 14 this week. The Giants had 14 at one time. We haven't seen that in a while. We usually get the 13. Either a touchdown and 2 field goals or 2 touchdowns and a missed extra point.
So, speaking of teams that know how to tank, the Raiders do, but so do the Jets. Holy
Good
crap.
God.
They came out against New England, and before I looked up, it was 21-0. But then there was fight at after a kickoff. There was like some emotion. Rabel decided to rub it in. It was an interesting game, actually.
Just an absolute look. I've run the gamut of emotions on this fucking team all year, from excitement to anger to frustration to apathy to anger again to sadness. Now I'm back to anger again because it's the worst they have looked in decades, that game. And this is a team that owned us for 25 years. They went down for a year, maybe 2, and we thought there's our window to get ahead of them. They're back again and making fun of us and kicking us in our nuts. Again, 42-3 that we were down. 6 straight touchdowns. 21 points before the end of the first quarter. And calling timeouts to basically laugh at us at the end of the half to get another score. Like, it is... I can't even begin to communicate how frustrating it is to see how far they have fallen. And I was relatively high on them 5 weeks ago, but the point differential in the month of December is the worst in the history of the NFL from the Jets this year.
That's awesome.
And Aaron Glenn talks about, like, his big thing at the beginning of the year. He goes, you're going to have it. Someone said, well, what should the fans know? You're going to have a team you're going to be proud of. Proud of? Of what? Get me out of your mind. So I there's nothing to say about this game or this team or this organization. It's an absolute, utter disaster. And I'm going to hold my pet peeve for my thoughts on Aaron Glenn.
Wait, so let me slip one in real quick. Hope you guys don't have this one. So, Scott, you sent out one of the most awesome nuggets yesterday. I guess it was the Greenie, right? Mike Greenberg from ESPN, and on his Twitter page, whatever, X, whatever the hell we call it. So you got.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So I hope I'm not stealing someone's thing here, but I had to, like, Garrett. I saw this. I couldn't stop looking at it just because I was doing the math and just the idea. Garrett Wilson leads the Jets in receiving yards. He last caught a pass on October 12th. Think about that. And the picture shows our boy Fields.
Yeah.
With that, with that dejected, hopeless look he always has on his face after the second he's walking off a field after another NFL loss. Like, we've seen that 47 out of 52 times in his career. Think about it. He last caught a pass on October 12th. He's the team's leading receiver. And I mean, that's obviously true. He put that out there. I haven't seen that stat, but
it's all true.
Yeah.
No, that was fact checked. The next closest receiver, I think, is I don't even know it might be the.
He played 6 games this year. 6.
Tomorrow, New Year's Eve, this guy hasn't caught a ball since October 12th. He's still leading receiver.
I'll give you something better, Cardone. When they do the team leaders for the Jets, like, I don't know who they pick for this, but there's a guy there that they picked for the most interceptions with 0. So it's like someone has a name with 0 there, but it's like you could pick anyone on the defense and put 0.
So every single defender has a T1 next to the name. You're like tied, like in golf, like every guy is tied for the team lead.
Now,
Sauce Gardner leads the team still in interceptions.
There was a guy that got one in the preseason. They're going to use him.
Oh my God!
17 games without an interception. Doesn't a ball just get tipped and it just while you're lying on the ground and something like the NFL record few was 8. We got 0.
That's unbelievable.
And how many total takeaways, Novak? What do the Jets have total?
I think it's 4.
It's like 4. Yeah.
And what's the NFL record?
2 of them are on special teams, I think.
Oh I think maybe that was the number I'm looking for. I think the NFL record was like 9 or something, and the Jets have 4.
And that's a 16-game schedule, I'm
Correct.
sure. So now we got the extra
not,
game. So
they're not
that's awesome. I mean,
the absolute dysfunction and just grossness of this team. You cannot match it in any sport, any organization. It doesn't. No one compares.
And Stephon Diggs was so happy to beat the Jets, he went and beat a woman too. So it's like...
just so you know, he did that the night after he beat the Giants. So there's that. Yes.
So it was a while ago.
It was on December 2nd. Then after that, was that the coup kick? Was that against the Pats?
The coup kick.
The coup kick was the week before, wasn't it?
No, coup was New England.
Kick was the Monday night game against New England.
It was.
Wasn't it?
The coup
kick
was
on the national audience. You're right.
Yeah, coup kick was New England. Yeah, Monday nighter.
The coup kick.
The cooch. The pitching wedge just jammed into the Bermuda turf.
That was so great.
Yeah, today was not a good day for the Diggs brothers. One of them was arrested for assault. The other one was released by the Cowboys. So,
yeah. Trayvon Diggs, who you guys remember, he had a couple of interceptions in his first year, and they were calling him Dion. And we talked about this on this podcast. I think we were the only ones saying it, is that this guy is going to get beat like a drum in the NFL because he jumps every route.
Yes.
And lo and behold, he can't stay on the field because he can't cover anybody.
Well,
oh my God.
Even in that season, Mike, I mean, so he had, I think he led the league in interceptions, and that, of course, made him a superstar.
Yeah.
But what they didn't show in that same season is that he also let up something like 1,600 yards receiving. He let up the most receiving yards ever by a cornerback since they started doing that stat. So he got so many interceptions because people were throwing at him. They were targeting him.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner, like Revis, those guys, they didn't get a lot of interceptions because no one's targeting them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. If you really think about it, that interceptions by themselves are not really a great metric for a D-back. That just means people are going after him.
Yeah. Percy Ellsworth led the league in interceptions one year for the Giants. He was off the team 2 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, this Trayvon Diggs, man. He was the most overrated player for a minute, making Pro Bowls based on his rookie season. Can we? Are we going to bring up the Pro Bowl? Anyone talking about the Pro Bowl?
I had a good one with the
still
Pro
around?
Bowl. So Mike did point out that there's no longer a game, but I saw where Joe Alt, the offensive lineman for the Chargers, made the Pro Bowl this year. He played 6 games. So you're making the Pro Bowl on reputation alone. Why did I just say that? I don't get it.
It needs, now that they don't even play the game, it needs to be gone.
Yeah.
I am so sick of people referencing Pro Bowl. Oh, how many Pro Bowls your boy made? I don't give a fuck. You might as well ask me how many number 2 pencils he has. I don't care.
They get to wear stickers on their helmet now, right? If they made the Pro Bowl. Do you hear this?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you get a sticker, like it's like you're in Pop Warner.
Ohio State, you're gonna have a bunch of like
Ohio
Buckeyes
State,
going up the side.
Yeah.
So because the media has filleted you enough, you get a special sticker.
Yeah,
sticker.
I really want to know, like, though. I mean,
are we really talking about?
Come on, a sticker on the helmet. What are we doing?
This is kind of a serious discussion, though. I mean, like Joe Alt making a Pro Bowl, playing 6 games. What could you possibly do as an offensive lineman in those 6 games to earn that? Like, did you pancake your guy every time? Otherwise, it's just
People
it's just all
recognize the
bullshit.
name. Oh, I've heard that name.
Bruce Matthews, remember him? He used to
Yeah.
make a Pro Bowl every year. It didn't matter how well he played. He snapped the ball. He was a center.
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey, guys like made a career out of it.
I think
now.
we've talked about this before, but other than a pancake, which is not even an official stat in the NFL, like what other statistic can an offensive lineman have?
Right.
Like other than just what they didn't give up, sacks or whatever it is, right? Or something. I know they measure that for tackles, I think, left tackles.
Not only that, Cardone, which is spot on, of course, but the fans pick it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do the fans know about anything, as we've learned?
Let alone an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you see, how many fans sit down and say, well, I'm going to continue my Pro Bowl ballot tonight. Tonight, I'm looking at right guards. I'm going to watch a couple hundred games and focus on right guards and pick the
We've
best
always
one
said
from each conference.
if the camera, if camera 2 or whatever, like instead of showing solid, if you're seeing an offensive lineman, he either held somebody on first down or he had the old second man in on a freaking unsportsmanlike penalty. So that's whenever they're showing offensive linemen, that's why. You never want to see an offensive lineman singled out on your TV screen if that's your team. He did one of two things: 15-yarder, unsportsmanlike, or a holding call. That's it.
I think the Giants had one player make the Pro Bowl this year. I think it's Brian Burns.
Yeah.
And Brian Burns made the Pro Bowl. Andrew Thomas did not. Andrew Thomas played more games than Joe Alt and is a better offensive lineman than Joe Alt and didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Brian Burns made it because he's nicknamed himself Spider-Man. People fans like that.
The Jets had none, so big shock there. We had not one.
I thought everyone had to make a Pro Bowl.
Oh, they made an exception for the Jets.
They probably gave it to Sauce Gardner.
Justin Fields as an alternate.
Remember the year? Was it Snoop Huntley made the Pro Bowl or something?
Yeah. Snoop Huntley made the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley played 5 games.
Like he's walking around the Pro Bowl locker room back when they had a game. There's other players probably thinking he's like the fucking towel boy or something.
Exactly.
Hey man, could bring another stack of cotton over here. What? I'm like,
they're going to each other. How the fuck is this guy here? What the hell?
Our fans are idiots.
And I know we got on him this year about his performance and his sack numbers, but Abdul Carter, there's a stat out there. Since they've been keeping the stat of pressures, Abdul Carter has had the most pressures of anyone in like the last 15 years.
Damn.
Really?
I mean,
it's kind of crazy to think about that.
We recognized that early on that, it was like the sacks are going to come. The sacks are going to come. The guys in the backfield on every single play. And then the drought became real. And then he started thinking, boy, is he faded? But he's come on late. Again, they should not allow any statistics to come away from that Raiders Giants game. That's just not fair.
Yeah.
They should. We're not going to carry any stats forward out of that game, but
I think Carter has 55 pressures on the year, which put him. The other guys on the list were like Joey Bosa. It was Micah Parsons, who all had less than that recently. But I thought that was pretty interesting because he has come under fire from fans, from some of the media, because he hasn't had sack numbers. But we have talked about how he's getting towards the quarterback. He's making plays. He's just not getting there. And then there's plays. We saw this in the Raider game too. Burns actually should have gotten a sack, but Gino just throws the ball into the turf 2 yards in front of him, and actually they didn't even call it grounding because there was a tight end like 8 yards away.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
But you lose a sack. You lose a sack on a play like that, even though you technically
did everything you needed to earn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Strahan has always talked about how the sack, ironically, until this week, the all-time leading sacker, has
Still
always said,
is.
Is he really, though?
well, yeah, the Green Bay, yeah.
He still is
Um,
until next week, probably.
he's
Right?
Yeah,
tied with
that's what I
right?
meant
Watt tied
until
him.
this
Yeah.
this coming week. He said the sacks maybe the most overrated stat in the NFL, and it's not because they're very damning and very punishing on the other team when you get them, not because of that, but he just said the way they use the lack of sacks to talk about how a defensive lineman plays is not that's he said during that he's like that may not be their job. And I don't know if a lot of people really got that. I happened to play on a defense in high school. I played defensive line where that was not my job. My job was to occupy offensive linemen so that the linebackers could get sacks. That was my job. So I get what he means when he says that. And it's pressures are almost as, what's better if you get a sack on 2nd and 10, if you get a sack, or if you pressure the quarterback in and make it a bad throw and you pick it off. The pressure's better than the sack in that scenario.
It's the same as basketball or hockey. The guy who makes the pass, that's the more important part of the play than the guy who scores the goal or gets the basket. Same concept, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
If my favorite Jet team of all time is the Sack Exchange Jets. And anyone who knows anything about football knows that Gastineau was the worst of those 4 linemen, actually. He was just Klecko and Salam and Lyons were getting triple teamed, and Gastineau was just running around one guy and getting a sack and getting his numbers up, doing the dance. He was nowhere near as good as those other 3 in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's the same. You're right. It's the same thing. And he, by the way, he is the true sack leader. But I digress. That's totally the same exact idea.
So looking around the league, there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened. The Lions are not going to make the playoffs this year. And the Lions, to me, are a very interesting case in the way the league looks at the Lions, because they are blaming basically Ben Johnson leaving for the Lions' woes. And what I looked at it as is it's almost like there's an aggression that the Lions have that gets lauded. But when it doesn't work, there's ramifications there. So there is a stat there. The Lions this year converted 54% of their 4th down attempts. And that was look, Campbell's doing a great job on 4th down. He's making 54% of his 4th down conversions. What they aren't saying, though, are probably in half the time that they're not getting the conversions, they could have kicked a field goal. They could have gotten points. And what do those points do towards the end of the game? So while they're converting over half the time, is that really leading to anything meaningful? Are they always scoring on the back end of that? And the other part of that is I don't know how you blame Ben Johnson for this. I mean, Dan Campbell has actually taken a couple of games and caused the Lions to lose because of his aggression, and no one's calling him out for it.
Yeah, I thought a few years ago, was it on Thanksgiving when Dan Campbell called a perfectly clean game?
Yeah.
No 4th down attempts. And they absolutely dominated Dallas.
It was this year. Yeah, we talked about that.
I thought that was a social experiment they were doing, but maybe by that point it was too late. I don't know. But I agree with that, Scott. And I'll tell you the other thing that I see when I watch the Lions this year. The Lions look like a really good NBA team. They thought they could waltz into the playoffs. And by the time they realized they had to pick it up, it was too late.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we sort of kind of rip on Ben Johnson, but I'm sorry, at the same time, the Bears are a lot better and the Lions are a lot worse. And for us to say that Ben Johnson isn't the reason, I think is wrong, because the one thing I have noticed about watching the Ben Johnson called game, he's a great play caller. I'm not saying he's like the best coach and he takes chances and all that, but his play, like the Lions always used to be in 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and they've been going for it on 4th and 5, 4th and 6. Part of it is the play calling of Ben Johnson. I think got to give credit where credit is due. I think he's actually better than I would have thought.
I'm with that too, Novak. I thought the same thing. I along with, I think all of us, we really didn't want to give this guy a lot of credit for the Bears, winning some close games, winning some games maybe they shouldn't have. But We all, it's what is it again? You are what your record is, whether it could be on the plus side or the negative
Totally.
side. So the Lions, when you look at them, we're focused on these two teams for the moment, and the Lions, they've been really good the last couple of years, Super Bowl caliber team. They had, I think, their best team and best chance last year, and then this year, you know what, 8-8. You think like, oh man, there's no way that's a 500 team. No, man, they're a 500 team because they the Giants had them beat. The Giants had a lot of teams
They
beat.
did, yeah.
The Giants had the Detroit Lions beat in their house.
Giants had the Bears beat.
Yeah, the Giants had the Bears beat. The Giants had
And
the
the-
Broncos beat. The Giants
Yeah.
had a lot of teams beat.
Packers.
And but I'm impressed. I did want to bring up the. I don't know if you guys watched the Niner Bear game.
Well, I had that up, Cardone, next, and I'll say
Okay.
this: I'm probably going to be the opposite of you guys. I watched that game, and after the game, there was talk about this being one of the best games ever, one of the best regular season games you're going to see, and this is exactly the game the NFL wants us to like. They want a high-scoring game, but I'll tell you what: I watched that game. There was no defense played.
None.
Guys running all wide open all over the place. Of course, Caleb Williams is getting lauded for making great throws, but there was no defense being played in that game.
Yeah.
So, right, a weird dynamic game, Scott. Because I was going to say the same, very similar thing. Where what I was going to say was, talk a little bit about Caleb Williams also, because I'm a few guys, and we've talked about a couple individual performances, in the last couple of weeks. I got to bring up, but Caleb Williams again. I thought the guy played really, really well. He's making some throws and extending some plays and just has command of that offense. He really does. We always think of the Bears as really not a sexy offense and they just kind of grind it out. Now this team is like a high-powered offense, and a lot of it is Caleb Williams' ability to extend plays and just make really good throws. But Scott, I'm glad you said that though. Like the NFL, again, it's more of the NFL gaslighting us by saying this is one of those Oregon, Washington type college football games where it's 42-38. I don't want to see that in the NFL. I want to see stops. I want to see punts. I want to see third and fourth down. I want to see third down stops and teams just getting off the field. This is absolutely ridiculous how these teams go up and down the field in the NFL. These are playoff teams. So that means these are obviously playoff defenses. What are we doing? How can this be? I can't stand that type of game. I would much rather see a 17-14 game at this time of the year between playoff teams. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see games. I don't want to see teams scoring 40 points.
The NFL would rather you watch that.
I know. And I hate it. I really hate it, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would be very interesting to see what would happen if we got to the Super Bowl and it was one of these high-scoring NFC teams and the Houston Texans. Yeah. How would the NFL handle this? But I would be fascinated by the gaslighting, the media, people talking about the offense. When I don't know about you guys, but that Houston Texan defense is the best side of the ball to watch in the NFL.
Yeah, they're nasty.
They're nasty. They're blitzing on every play. They're flying all over the field. They're hitting people like you wouldn't believe. Like, they are fun to watch. Forget the offense. That team is amazing to watch, and I hope they get there for that exact reason.
I'll tell you what, C.J. Stroud too. He makes plays when he needs to. He doesn't necessarily have to. He doesn't have to put his team at risk because of that defense. But I've been impressed with C.J. Stroud, who I thought had a sophomore slump last year. But this year, ever since he came back from injury, that offense doesn't look half bad either. I mean, I know it's not going to be the juggernaut teams, but he's not making mistakes. And that's one of the things you do when you have a good defense. Not making mistakes is just as good as throwing touchdown passes sometimes.
A couple defensive teams, right? I wanted to bring so Houston. We've seen their defenses playing maybe in the best in the league, or right there. Yeah. I'll tell you another team another defensive unit that I haven't been maybe giving enough credit to. Seattle Seahawks, man, that defense. Yeah. You're right. I know statistically, maybe I didn't realize statistically they're in the top of like points against, yards against, rushing, all the. I Panthers and man, Seattle, that defense, those are the types of defenses that I still think it holds true in the playoffs in the NFL. Defenses travel, so if these teams have to play well, Seattle can get the 1 seed, right? Because
if they win
they
on
beat,
Saturday.
yeah, so they wouldn't even have to go on the road, but and that's a tough place to play. But I think we're making our point, guys, with the defenses. I'm old school that I think we all are. We want to see defenses, and we want to see quarterback pressure, and we want to see teams. We want to see that. I don't know why the NFL has, for some reason, just taken that out of the fan. I don't know, just what they determine what we want for some reason. That really drives me crazy as a fan of all leagues as well. I used to like the NBA. With some of the I didn't like games particularly like 78, 74. That was pretty brutal back in the in the 90s, whatever, when the Knicks were trying to win championships and shit. But now you watch an NBA game, it is deplorable.
So
it's
hard to
deplorable.
Watch. It is dribble, take it to the center, take it to the middle of the court, kick it out for a 3 shot, maybe get a rebound, go the other way.
But teams are scoring. 142 to 140 is every night. Any team can do that. It's absolutely an abomination. And if the NFL thinks that's what the majority of fans want, they're wrong.
Well, much like the NBA too, the NFL bails teams out. So like in the NBA, a guy will drive and miss the bucket, and all of a sudden there's a whistle.
Yep.
And NFL, third down stop, there's the flag. They're very similar in that way. They don't let the defense actually do their job.
No.
Yeah, and I don't think, as fans, a nice high scoring shootout every now and then is great, but it should be predictable. It should be 2 good offenses against teams with 2 bad defenses, and you see it coming and you're like, oh boy, strap up. This is going to be a good one. It's not predictable. It's because the officials are doing what they can to make it a shootout. Nobody wants to see that. No one wants to see flags on an awesome 3rd and 7 play where the defender just gets a hand in and his hand is touching the guy's back. Oh, beep, extend the drive. Nobody wants to see that.
No.
And you guys, you can't convince me that the league knows with this, and you know how I feel about this. I bring it up all the time because I don't care if our listeners are sick and tired of hearing me talk about the running clock in this league and how the fucking clock never stops. You have only a limited number of possessions and plays. So if drives aren't extended, you're not going to see as many points. It's interesting how we have the high scoring games in the NFL with less plays. It's because the drives, because the defenses can't get stops. So you're seeing less plays and less possessions, but actually more points.
Yeah. Cardone, was it the Green Bay Baltimore game when you were talking about the number of plays Green Bay was running?
Green Bay at one point, I don't have it in front of me now. I think I was writing it down, but they had 9 plays. I think it's a quarter and a half into the game or something. It was now, of course, they turned the ball over on one of them or whatever it was. So fair. They had a turnover like on the first play, but nonetheless, 9 plays. I don't care what's going on in a game to have 9 plays through 20 something minutes of NFL football. It's absolutely absurd. And the thing about that, nobody in the media. Absolutely nobody talks about that, and I don't. And why is that? Why is that? I don't know. I think
when they do, they mention it as a great defensive performance by the other team.
Right.
No one mentions the running clock or the penalties or the
running of the clock of players going out of bounds was the worst rule change, not only in the NFL. In my mind, it's the worst rule in in all of professional sports. The worst rule change in all of professional sports. Give me every league. It's the worst rule they ever came up with.
And college has adopted that now too. Outside of the end of the game, college now you go out of bounds, they spot the ball, and the clock starts running again.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mike.
I'm just agreeing with everybody.
Speaking of defenses, though, there was a defense that played pretty well because an offense looked pretty shitty, and that's the Browns against the Steelers, where the Dick choked. He had a chance to put the Steelers in the playoffs, and now it comes down to a game shootout. There's two games coming up this week, and I think they put them both on Saturday. No,
yes,
the Steeler Ravens game is Sunday night, right?
That's the night game.
Yes.
Sunday, yeah.
But
Carolina,
the
Tampa,
Panthers Buccaneers is Saturday.
That was just an incredible game to watch the Dick implode right in
Yeah.
front of our eyes. It was the greatest.
It is
I mean,
great.
and he was trying to blame everyone under the
Oh,
sun
God.
but himself. Linemen he was staring down, officiating he was yelling at, receivers were running wrong routes. He
Beautiful.
was looking at the coaching sideline, hurry up and get the play in. This guy, I
Yeah.
hope he just goes up in a ball of flames next week. I really do.
Did Tony Romo do that game?
Yes.
So
Because
did.
so
he's
here-
part of my
here's-
he's part of my peeve, by the way. So yeah,
Is it going to be at the end of the game where he made a comment?
perhaps, but
Okay.
I don't know
Is
which
it-
comment you're.
Well, is it about them going for it on fourth down?
No, it's not.
Okay,
It has
okay,
nothing.
so-
It's something kind of a little far fetched, actually. One of my reaches of a pet peeve. So, but yeah,
So I'll bring
They're
this out. So the the Steelers, there's like 2 minutes and change left, and they have a 4th and 4 or whatever in their own territory, and they go for it. And Romo goes, "This is genius if you think about it, because if you don't get this, you could
I know
hold
what
the
you're talking
Browns to
about, yep.
3. You could use all your timeouts and you get the ball back." And I'm like,
Hold him to a field goal was his thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this genius? You're still giving the fucking ball up. You're going to lose the game. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't get it. They did hold the Browns to a field goal, and then the Dick couldn't come down and make
Why is
make
that
the final
different
play.
from punting and not letting him get the field goal?
Exactly.
Why that's not.
The Browns couldn't move the ball. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you put him back on the other 20-yard line?
Yeah,
He actually called it genius, and I was thinking to myself,
Genius.
what the fuck is he
I know.
talking about here?
that's where we are.
you know what? A game like that, what's great and sucks at the same time. So on one hand, we're talking about an imploding Dick, right? Because we can't anytime you have Dick failure, it's just awesome. But on the other side, in that particular game, you got that asshole Sanders and his father wearing a cowboy hat up in the
Yeah.
press in the. So on the other end, all of a sudden, as I'm watching Dick like barking at everybody, I'm realizing like, oh shit, like Sanders is going to win this game. Like, I don't want that either. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like we have so many things
Yeah.
that we love to hate. That like
Yeah.
I'm miserable constantly.
Never fully satisfied.
Exactly, Novak. That's perfectly
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
said. I'm
Yeah.
never really happy. It's like, yeah, and then like, oh fuck.
That means this one's got to win.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's, but like, but in that situation, definitely going against a Dick because this could be his last year. We got a whole we have years to like worry about Sanders doing nothing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good
Maybe
call.
2 years, and then he's out of the league. You never know.
correct. Yeah.
I'm going to throw a question out for you guys because I think we're going to get 4 different answers on this. And there's a lot of teams that I was looking at this last week thinking there's a lot of teams where this is possible. Who do you guys think is the coach of the year?
Oh.
And I'll start with Mike.
This is an easy one for me. I think Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in football and should be the coach of the year every year.
Well,
No, I think that team held it together through some injuries, and now they look really, really good going into the playoffs.
I think that's a good call. So
Yeah.
Cardone.
I'm glad you asked this question, Scott, and I didn't know it was coming, but I was having this conversation just the other night, I guess, and never before. And I usually don't get too wrapped up in this particular, contest, if you will, but I was thinking if I had a vote, like, man, this is like the toughest year maybe ever that I can recall, because there's you can make an argument for so many different guys. For some reason, though, I gotta lean towards my boy down in Duval. I think I got to give it to Liam Cohen. Because that guy, we were bashing that guy, making fun of everything about that press conference and everything about him and this Jaguar team. I'm like, what the fuck is this clown they're hiring? This is a disaster. And look what he's doing with the Jags. So just that fact alone with the Duval press conference, I got to give it to Liam Cohen.
Duval.
Obviously
Duval?
but I look at teams that are who's playing the best at the end of the year, perhaps. That means that they corrected a number of things, I guess, maybe early or mid-season, and there's so many guys. I don't want to name names because you guys are gonna, Novak and you guys are going next,
Yeah.
but I guess Liam gets my vote.
All right.
For me, You take a team that last year had 3 wins, and you are now potentially the number 1 seed in the AFC. Has to go to Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel. I was just gonna say Vrabel.
Vrabel's
Yep.
a good call.
I just
He's going to win it.
Not only does he deserve it, I think he's the best coach in the league. Beyond just getting the award, to see what he has done to turn that team around and the difference that he has made, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I thought about the Vrabel angle there because I do personally think he's one of the best coaches in NFL. I thought that when he was with Tennessee before that. I also, begrudgingly think Sean Payton's done a good job this year too,
Yes.
because I can't stand the guy. I was looking at this though, and I saw the Duval angle. I was looking at Houston's coach. I was thinking about all of that, and every other team, and maybe Houston doesn't fall in this, but I think the other teams do. A lot of these teams, I think, are doing it with smoke and mirrors, and the teams that I don't think that are doing it with smoke and mirrors are the ones in the NFC West, whether it's Seattle, San Francisco, or the Rams. So my choice was going to be I would give the coach of the year to whoever wins the NFC West. So that could be Shanahan, like Mike said. It could be McDaniels from Seattle. It could be McVay from the Rams. I don't know if the Rams have a chance now. Do they still have a chance?
No, Rams do not.
The Niners and
lost
the
last night, so they're
Seahawks
out.
play each other, right? So the winner.
Yeah,
of
and I
that,
think that's the winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And the
to
winner
me,
gets the 1 seed there. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
like
to me,
Sam
the
Darnold,
winner-
like last year.
Yeah.
to me, the winner of that game, I think should be coach of the year. But I just thought it was a really good question because I was actually sitting there thinking there's probably 8 teams that could lay claim. And we didn't even mention Ben Johnson. We didn't mention, Sirianni, anything like that. But there are 8 teams probably that could lay claim to the fact that, hey,
I mean,
our coach should be the coach of the year.
Dave Canales deserves at least a.
He does.
I mean,
I will say this. So the AFC or NFC South, I mean, it's a race to the bottom right now. I mean, like the Panthers actually benefited last night from the Falcons winning because now it's
That's
not
crazy.
the Panthers versus the Bucks winner. If the Buccaneers win, they have to hope the Falcons lose to the Saints. Because
Crazy.
the Falcons, if they ended up in a 3-way tie, the Panthers get the tiebreaker there.
So
that-
right,
that-
all
that game-
3 of those
that game
teams could
last
end up
night
8 and
meant
9.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're going to be 8 and 9. That's the thing. I mean, I like Dave Canales. I think he's brought some winning to the Panthers. I think the Panthers, as much as I also think the Buccaneers are both overrated teams, and the Buccaneers aren't taking enough shit for the collapse they
oh
had.
come on, the games that they have lost, Miami, New Orleans, Carolina, like Atlanta, like loss after loss after loss. That's a massive collapse. Todd Bowles is gone. And that's the other thing. We're talking about all these coaches that should be coach of the year. We might have 10, 11 openings at the end of the year, potentially. There's a lot of coaches that are getting fired this year, which makes it the Giants' task of finding a good coach all that much more daunting.
And
Well,
we'll just
'cause
pick up one of the guys who gets fired.
You have so many of these coaches that are coaches of the year. All these other teams. I mean, it's like the haves and have-nots.
Oh,
There's
my
so
God.
many teams that are
100%.
so bad in the
Yep.
NFL. And with that, Mike, we'll go to predictions.
Yeah, well, I have a confession to make. I have totally blown up the predictions. I mean, when we did that podcast where we were drunk a couple weeks ago, coming home from the bar, I messed everything up and I can't put it back together. So I'm going to declare Cardone the winner. And then we'll have a 1-week thing here, and then we'll do playoff pickup. So congratulations, Cardone. I don't know. I can't even. I couldn't find the last sheet. And then I put my picks in. I don't know what you guys picked last week. I never got to listen to the pod, so.
Right, this feels like a Redskins Super Bowl championship from the 80s, like a strike-shortened season, and it doesn't really count. I'm like, but I guess I'll take it,
Well, I'll tell you what. If this is the way you guys operate when you're drunk, you're 10 times more efficient than me.
I mean, I'll try to reconstruct it maybe, but I'll have to listen to the pod and see what everyone picked.
Mike, you not listening to the pod last week missed me passing out at the end.
It was.
Oh, well, yeah.
An all-timer.
I guess Novak and I were that boring, or I don't know, maybe
he was like the Raiders defense. He just laid down.
Yeah.
Laid right down. Yeah. So let's just get into this. Here's our champion, Cardone. Dallas at the New York Giants, Cardone.
All right. I don't even know who's fuck's playing. Like, who our starters starting? Like,
Yeah,
how do you
I'm
pick this
not
stuff?
sure.
I have
I
no
don't know.
idea. I think just because it's Dallas and because it's Met Death, I didn't know where to go with this game. I was thinking like, well, the Giants are going to continue to screw themselves and continue moving up the tankathon ladder in the wrong way. So maybe they're going to win this game, but I don't even know. Can we at least? Do you guys know? Like, is Prescott playing or Dallas playing their starters? I don't even know.
I've heard that they want Prescott to play until he gets some sort of record.
Some sort of record. Oh, okay.
I forget. I don't know what the record is. It might be like yards in a season or something.
And George Pickens is going for some sort of record
again,
too,
guys.
so.
It really doesn't matter. But like, so I still have as I wrote it down before we came on, I'm like, my pen still managed to pump out a Dallas win. So give me Dallas 27-23 in a close game. I think Dart and the Giants, I think that, the Dallas defense pretty much stinks, but so I think the Giants will be able to score at least 20-something points, but I still have them losing at Met Death to the Dallas Cowboys just because it's the Cowboys, and we don't like beating them. We can't beat them. We don't beat them. So give me Dallas. And then the Jets, God almighty. They're not going to be in this game. It's Buffalo. They're just not. So I actually wasn't even that mean to them, and I have them scoring 13 points. I have Buffalo like in a mini route, 31-13, just because I think Buffalo will lose interest by the third quarter. I think they'll have like a 31-3 lead, early in the third, and just win 31-13. Buffalo, and then if we're doing locks and all that, I'm pretty sure I haven't taken this team. I have Jacksonville as my lock over the Titans. I believe they got this week. So yeah,
got it.
So I got the Jags. I figure I'm all over the Jags this week. I got Duval with Coach of the Year. I got the Jags as my lock. I'm a Jag fan.
The Titans have put some fight up lately.
They have. Yeah.
Giants Cowboys. I don't see any possibility that the Cowboys can lose this game. So I'm taking the Cowboys 27-17. And for the Jets Bills, we didn't even talk about the Bills game. The Bills going for it for 2 at the end of that game. To me, it's one of those things where you're the team at home, you have the other team on the ropes, the other team's gassed, and you end up trying to go for 2 on a 50-50 play rather than going to overtime. I would have taken the points and gone to overtime, but I think the Bills are in that situation where their window has closed, and if they don't win it all this year, I don't see it happening. As good as Josh Allen can be, but they will beat the Jets tonight. Or this week they'll beat them 30-10. And my lock is actually Buffalo.
Buffalo. All right. I know the Giants are going to screw this up. I know we're going to pick 5th, 6th. I know it. I know we are. So I'm going to pick the Giants to win this game 34-21, just because I know Dallas' defense still sucks. We still have Tyrone Tracy, an offensive line that's playing pretty well, and Jackson Dart. We're going to score points. And clearly the Giants haven't quit. They played hard for absolutely no reason this week. This week is the same, no reason to play hard at all. But, so they will. And then I've similar score to you guys on Buffalo and the Jets. I've got Buffalo winning 31-6. And that one, my lock certainly reset because I know at one point here in the last couple of weeks, I picked Dallas. I picked Dallas over the Chargers. Was that the drunk week? I think that was the drunk week.
You did.
Yeah,
I remember you saying that the Dallas over the Chargers. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? But okay.
Fine. And I'm gonna take for my lock. I'm gonna take the Philadelphia Eagles over the Redskins.
Yeah.
All right. So if Mike decides to go back and redo this, I believe that I'm down by like 3 or 4 to all of you. So because of that, I'm gonna throw my Hail Mary out this week. I'll
All
start
right.
with the Jets. I think the Jets whip up on the Bills,
All right.
and I like the Jets here 7-6 over the Bills.
Just give them a beating. Just give them a beat down.
One thing I want to point out before I get to my second pick, we have a twofer for the AFC South games this week. 2
Yes.
AFC South games to end the year.
Every division
Two-pack.
plays each other, so yes,
Yep.
we have a double barrel.
We have a double barrel AFC South matchup this weekend.
Somehow the 17th week in a row that's happened.
I don't understand. They'll find a way to play each other in the playoffs. How, I don't know, but it'll happen. For the Giants and Cowboys, I think I agree with Mike here. I think the Giants, actually, this one I was going to pick anyway. I think the Giants are going to screw this up because they have just effed up everything this year unbelievably. And I think they go and win this game, fall all the way back to the 7th or 8th pick. So I like the Giants here 21-17 over the Cowboys. And then finally, just because this team obviously laid down, and it's Kelsey's last week, I think the Chiefs are my lock to beat the Raiders.
I like that call.
The Raiders are going to lie down to
that
lock in
call.
the number 1 pick.
There's no the Raiders. If the Raiders win now, if the Raiders win this week,
I mean, come on. I just,
Can you imagine?
can you imagine? What are you doing? And that's the thing. Watch the Raiders win this game, and the Giants also win.
And the Giants win.
yeah.
Because
Yes.
I think in
Yes.
that
What a
case,
call.
Don't the Jets slide in there with the 1?
think they would.
The Jets
Jets-
are the top of the 3-win teams, right? The
I
Jets
think
would
if everyone wins and the Jets
have-
lose, the Jets would be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I
That's
got
what
Tank.
I-
Hang on, I got Tankathon here in front of me, and I believe it is the Jets who are. Well, I don't know why the screen just froze up. Of course, but yeah, I think now here it is. Well, no, the Giants are actually ahead of them. They're both the Giants and Jets,
Yeah.
both 3-13 now. The Giants are ahead of them because it's all based on strength of schedule.
Right. But if the Giants and Raiders win.
Correct. Then the Jets would, yes, they would slide ahead.
Well, would the Jets have a better strength of schedule than
Than
the
the
Raiders?
Raiders.
So,
Yeah,
the Raiders was pretty bad.
Yeah, the Jets is 550. It's 0.8 more.
yeah. The
And
Raiders would go down.
And the
They're playing
Jets play the
Chiefs, yeah.
Bills.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
So, no,
Jets'
it's-
strength of schedule would be higher.
it would. So the Jets cannot.
Damn it.
I don't think so. The Jets cannot get the 1 slot. They can't. Yeah.
Great. Well, there
Jets,
you go.
Giants, not getting the 1. Neither one of us getting the other one with these 2 teams. It's a miracle. It really is. It's an absolute miracle.
Mendoza goes to the gambling mecca of the world, possibly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, pet peeves tonight. I'm going to start because mine's not really a pet peeve. It's more of a validation of some of the things that we've said before. So, I want to validate some penalty stats here. And I started thinking about this because if anyone watched that Houston Chargers game, there's an illegal contact called at the end of the game. Chargers sacked Stroud, would have forced Houston to punt. Chargers would have had one last gasp to score. I don't know if they would have scored. But on that play, they called an illegal contact, which bailed the team out. And these bailouts are not only ridiculous, but here in this situation, it may actually decide division titles for both the West and the South, which I thought was very convenient. But I was looking at the penalty structure here, like the number of plays that teams run and the penalties call. And it seems like penalties are called on about 10% of the entire plays that are run, which is a pretty high amount if you think about it. Every 10th play, there's a flag thrown. First down passes, we've talked about this. Like third down is always a penalty. First down passes, less than 3% of the plays are flagged. So first down, you basically throw the ball. There's not many flags thrown. Second down passes, about 5% of the plays get flags. Third down passes, 13% of the plays have flags on them.
Jesus.
So think about that. 13 out of every 100 plays or passes on third down have a flag.
Seems higher, but yeah.
But it is higher than the average. And
Yep,
then if you
well
look
higher.
if
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
down at the runs, the first down run, highest percentage of flags for offensive holding are on first down runs, much like we've said. So it's just validation of what we've talked about. And I went back and looked at the Giants Vikings game. That game had about 105 total plays run, and both teams combined for 22 penalties. So in that game, it was about a 20% uh,
Jerk.
aspect of where flags were thrown. So think about it, 20% of all plays, a flag came out, and those are only accepted penalties. I don't see penalties that are thrown that aren't accepted. So I my personal view is that there's way too much influence from the officials. Um, there was a lot of outrage after that game with Houston and the Chargers about why are we throwing flags and something like that. And someone came out and said, just call the blatant penalties, which is something that I've said for a while now. If you actually eliminated illegal contact, let the defense play a little, call defensive holding if it's actually defensive holding, which I still think is a bullshit call. But what I don't understand about the NFL is that the NFL is so strict about these illegal contact penalties, and they look at the minutia of this, but they don't care if an offensive lineman leaves a beat early. They don't care if the play clock gets stopped a beat early. So why are they so hell bent on things like illegal contact, where it really just gives the official carte blanche to be able to impact a game?
That's
And I wish
all
they
it
would
is.
just you don't have to put a formal rule in place. Just say anything that is obvious and blatant, call. Let everything else alone. The total number of flags thrown in the game honestly should be under 5%.
Definitely.
The only
I would agree.
reason
Definitely.
illegal contact exists is so the officials can call an automatic first down play on third down. That's the only reason it's there. Because you can't, you could call defensive holding or pass interference, but when you call those penalties, they're going to show the replay and the camera is going to see he didn't hold anybody or he didn't interfere. But if you call illegal contact, all he has to do is touch the guy.
You could
Touch
call
him.
legal contact on any play.
Any play.
Any play.
Yeah.
No,
Any
no.
play.
Mm-hmm.
The sole reason, when's the last time we saw a 2nd and 7 illegal contact in the NFL?
No, and that's
You
sort of
don't.
why I looked at those
Yeah.
stats, is because I thought to myself, well, maybe there's illegal contact on other downs. And if it happens, less than 3% of the time, 5% of the time, but then it jumps to more than double of that on third down, because that's the bailout. There's the defense is still doing the same things on first and second down, but they're not getting called for it. On third down they are. Why? Because we're extending drives.
Well, not even just the 2nd and 7 and all of that, but like the Jets are down 42-10. Are they calling illegal contact like with a minute left in the game? No. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. Like, it doesn't matter about the time. But you're right. They're
Yeah.
doing it to even the playing field, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I thought was interesting, and I don't know if you guys caught this. I had watched the whole game because I had fantasy implications, but the last play of the Rams game, the Rams Falcons game.
Puka.
No, the very last play.
Oh, the very
Now-
last play. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
very last play of the game was there was about 6 seconds left. The Rams needed a miracle. The play before they almost got one, but they didn't. But so this is the play call. Down however many they were down. They only needed a field goal, right? The play call was a 25-yard back shoulder fade. The 25-yard version of that is because it got him into field goal range. Sean McVay was trying to get a penalty on 4th down. What's the
Yeah.
most commonly called penalty? It's on a back shoulder fade, right? With the defender fighting back. He 100% was trying to get a penalty called on the last play. He didn't even passed up a Hail Mary. Thought he had a better chance of getting
Exactly.
that penalty called than a Hail Mary.
That's a great
It's
call.
Great coaching.
It is
Great
great
coaching.
coaching.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mike, 2 plays before that, people are still complaining that the Atlanta defensive back grabbed the Rams' arm on a bomb down the field. So it's like we talk about the minutia. Everything is so well. Look at this. This is obvious. There's a grab here. There's a grab there. But then again, they don't care if they spot the ball correctly. They don't care if an offensive lineman moves a beat early. They don't care if the snap comes after the play clock is done. We want preciseness only in certain times. And that's because they try to control the narrative. They try to control what happens. I think we're the dangerous thing for me is I really think we're veering into WWF territory where like narratives are being built. If you think about this year, how often did we see Taylor Swift? We didn't see Taylor Swift a lot, and the
Not
reason
as
is, and this wasn't even just now. Even when the Chiefs were relevant, we weren't seeing Taylor Swift. Why? She wasn't part of the storyline. I don't think.
Yeah.
No.
She didn't fit into the storyline this year. She wasn't. She got written out of the script.
And that's going, more like, conspiracy theory shit. But still, you have to ask yourself why do we not see Taylor Swift other than a couple brief glimpses when she was shoved down our throat last year.
Well, part of it might be a correction to what they did last year.
Yeah,
Because they heard a lot of shit, and rightly so. Rightly so. And again, as we said the whole time last year, all four of us agreed, no knock on Taylor at all. It's not her fault. She wants to go watch her boyfriend play a football game. She should be able to do that. But yeah.
Just like it's not Robert Sala's fault. I mean, that we had, but it's, it's the same.
You know what's funny is that game against the Bears, again, like I mentioned before, there was hardly any defense played. We still got a dozen solid shots during that game.
Here's a good great. So I went into Mulligan Saturday just to have lunch and hang out. The Clemson game was on in there. So I go in and sit down. I'm there like 3 minutes. I'm there with my wife, and I hear someone go, Salah! And it was Cardone. It was one of the guys that were hounding us over there.
That one night. Yeah. That's awesome. So we're sweeping the nation. We're starting an entire new religion. Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing here? The 49ers aren't on.
I don't know about you guys.
This is why I want the Niners to not win this week, because I want them to play on Super Wild Card Weekend when we'll be at Mulligan's.
Oh my gosh.
Good point.
That's a great point. I don't know about you guys. I sit here. I was watching the game in my living room, and partially with family and stuff, and then like by myself. And I'm like, they're giving me the Salah. I'm doing it to myself in the living room. I'm like, Salah.
Oh yeah. There he is, Salah.
Yep. Not as loud. I'm kind of like a volume 5. I'm like, Salah.
Yep. Little Salah, little nod,
little nod, little toes. I like when Cardone gets mad about it. He goes, Robert fucking Salah. That's when they show him like 3 times in 3 minutes. That's what
I love. Was it which one of you guys? It wasn't me. One of you guys coined the extended Salah phrase. I love that one. I think it was Novak. Extended Salah when he's.
Is it just the camera wouldn't leave him?
Yeah, which by rule is probably about maybe at least 4 seconds or so, maybe something like that. Extended Salah.
Keep drinking. Extended Salah.
And with that, I will go to Novak for his pet peeve.
Yep. So my pet peeve is going to go over to my Jets, and there's been some discussion this week about whether or not Aaron Glenn should or should not be a one and done. And my pet peeve is that when that question gets asked, people say, "Well, it's not fair." Fair? This is the NFL. This isn't kickball in 3rd grade at Lincroft Elementary. Like, if he's not doing a good job, and if the team is as bad as they are, forget fair. If you suck, you suck. Go. Gone. Goodbye. And so the narrative has to change of like, this isn't like a kid's game. Like if people aren't doing their jobs, they need to be fired. And then the other part of that pet peeve is like, people will say like, well, that can't be possibly true. And let me tell you exactly how it's possibly true. And this is a cautionary tale for the Giants. When you think about GM coach together or one before the other, the Jets bring in the GM and the coach together. One didn't pick the other. And what happens when you do that is that if you start to suck, the owner is going to go to the GM and say, "Why are we so bad?" And he said, "Well, I didn't really pick the coach, so if I had my choice, I would have maybe taken." I'm not saying he says those words. Like if Woody Johnson goes to Darren Muji, the GM of the Jets, and says, "What do you think of Aaron Glenn?" He could probably say something like, "He's a great guy. I like him a lot. Seems to love the game. I know he's a great Jet. Tell me, is he the guy that's going to lead this team to the promised land?" I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy I would have gone to, but we're here and we'll do the best we can to make it work. This is how this happens. And so you have to go one of two directions. You either got to get the GM in and let him pick the coach, or you got to get the coach that's a high profile coach and let him say, "I'm comfortable in working with this guy to build the roster." When you bring them in together, like you did Dayball and Shane, and you marry them together, it doesn't work. And so my pet peeve is these teams don't get how this can actually happen. And then you say it's not fair. It is fair. If he sucks, get him out. So I don't know. It's a sort of a long-winded pet peeve with different tentacles to it. But you can see how it's frustrating when the narrative always changes and there's always an excuse and this whole fair thing drives me nuts.
So we're going to get a question about Glenn a little bit later, but do you think he should stay?
I don't. And here's why I say that. He seems completely lost. And if you look at the big decisions that he had to make this year were which the rumor is, and I'm sure it's true, he was the one that pushed for Justin Fields. Red flag right there. He's the one that's going to develop our quarterback that we're going to have to draft. And number two, he brought in and pushed for Steve Wilkes as a defensive coordinator, who we ended up firing, and we have the worst defense in the league. And he's a defensive guy. Now, I think you need to. That's why I'm saying that this fair thing is what drives me crazy. You need to cut bait. He's not going to turn it around next year. He's not. And I fell for it for a 3-4 week period. I kind of bought into it. But you can see what's going on here. The guy needs to go. And they're not going to fire him because it's not fair, but he needs to go.
Yeah. That was my rationale with Dable last year, is that when you have a 3-win season, you shouldn't be retained.
No.
And I like we saw it with, I think it was Lindy Infante or one of the Colts coaches, that when they went 0-16 or whatever, they didn't get retained. And it's because if you can't win a game, if you're going to get 1 or 2 wins, unless you're building a culture, you shouldn't do that. Like Dable had a playoff team and took them to a 3-win team. When that happens, you should have been gone. You shouldn't 100%. Come back and have another shot.
Didn't Marty Schottenheimer once get fired after a 14-2 season?
Do I have that right?
I think he did. You're right.
Chargers, I think, or was it like, remember, like back in the 90s, maybe
the GM.
Right.
He might have been 12-4, but I think you're right. It was
something like that. It was a double. They had 12. It was a crazy, like Schottenheimer, guy like that. It just anyway. I'm reaching there, but I think to our point, just a guy wins 3 games and we bring him back. It's just fuck out of here. Who could do worse? Like you bring a different guy.
Worse.
What are we?
They're just getting their
you're not
asses
gonna do worse.
kicked. No.
To another one of our points, I'm sitting here watching the 76er Memphis game, and with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it's 125-121. So there's your defense.
That's a great game.
There you go.
And with that, I'll dovetail to Mike for a pet peeve.
Yeah, I'm going to dive back into the tanking a little bit, because there was a lot of social media going around, and I found myself on both sides of it, and I want to just kind of bring the point home a little bit of the things I've thought about this week. So first of all, I wanted the number 1 pick. I'll come right out and say that. I've said that on here before, and I will continue to say it. I don't want the Giants to ever tank. I don't want that, but we were bad enough to get the pick, and I'm pissed off because we had to have a team cut people to be worse than us, or not cut people, but bench people, put them on IR to be worse than us, to steal the pick from clearly the worst team in football. That gets me upset a little bit, but I am glad we didn't tank. I am glad we're not the Raiders. I saw a lot of shit before the game with Raider fans kind of giving it back to the Giant fans. Oh, you guys are trying to lose the game too. You guys are trying to lose the game too. And I had built up in my head that this game is going to go 0-0 tie, because neither team wants to win. Like they're going to punt that, this is going to be crazy. But soon after the snap, you realize the Giants ain't tanking anything. But what the point I wanted to make on that was this: And I mentioned it earlier, but I really want to drive it home. The players do not tank, no matter what. No, I don't. Maybe in like the 40s when they gave, hey, I'll give everyone $150 if we lose this game. It's maybe something like that. But the players themselves in this day and age in the NFL, if you put them on the field, they're playing to win. There's no intentionally missing receivers. And this is what people were saying online. There's no intentionally dropping balls. There's no not blocking to get your quarterback sacked. That shit does not happen. If they're on the field, they're playing hard. That's not what a tank is. I do believe there's been times where a coach has tanked a team. In other words, the coach has been the one to, like I thought I saw from Kafka last week, actually, the coach has been the one to just call the most inopportune plays at the craziest times and not use, not feature your best players and all that. But I think the most common type of coach tanking comes from ownership. But it's never phrased that way until now. It's never no one's ever accused anyone of tanking, because that's an awful thing to accuse someone of, to have athletes go out there, put their body on the line to intentionally try to use. So there's been speculation before. There's been whatever, that they really try that hard, all that stuff. But what the Raiders are doing right now is a slap in the face to the NFL. It's an abomination to the NFL. It's for all the reasons we talked about earlier. And anyone who equates what the New York Giants are doing at the end of the season to what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing is high. There is no comparison. The Giants could easily start with all the concussions. If ownership wanted this team to tank, we could put him on the shelf right now and no one would ask a question. If the Giants came forward and said, listen, he's had these concussions this year, we're not going to mess around, we're going to put him on the shelf, nobody would ask a question. Nobody would accuse the Giants of a single thing if they went and did that. If they did that, maybe you could suspect them of tanking, but they didn't do it. He's still out there. They've still, 2 weeks ago, they called 9 pass plays. I kind of thought that was a backdoor way to tank. Leave them in there and only call 9 passes. I think what the Raiders are doing now is bad for the game. Luckily, and maybe this is part of ownership, maybe they looked into this, but they played the Giants and the Chiefs the last 2 weeks. But what if they played the Broncos this week, which they easily could? If they played the Broncos this week, who are in a neck and neck battle with the New England Patriots for the number 1 seed in the AFC, how is that fair?
Not.
How is that fair that you've got a team out there not giving your best effort and essentially handing the number 1 seed to the Denver Broncos? Now, I'm talking about that like it's happening, but it did, of course, but it could. So to Novak's point earlier, which is why I was real quiet when he was saying they've got to stop it. This has to stop now, because the whole culture of the sport and the world, the country and the world is changing. And if you go online, fans have no pride. They have no nothing. I was called everything this week online, from a pussy to an idiot for not actively wanting my team to lose, which is a misnomer. I wanted them to lose. I just wanted them to lose fair and square. So the whole culture out there now is just leaning toward this: cheat the system, integrity doesn't matter. And I came away from that game proud of the Giants, as I usually end up being one way or the other, about as proud of them as I was when they played their starters the whole game for no reason against the New England Patriots in 2007, for no reason other than the integrity of the game. It's the only reason that they did that. They did that because they realized we can't just lie down and be a doormat and let this team go 17-0 uncontested or 16-0 uncontested. That's the only reason they did it. I was proud of them that day. Would have been prouder if they won, which they damn near almost did, but we got the big one a couple weeks later. But that's my pet peeve. It's just the terrible path I think we're on with the tanking and having websites called Tankathon and people, into it and everything like that. I would almost never want the number 1 pick to pick a player. This year was different for me. If the Giants had that number one pick, that could be franchise altering stuff. But I think karma's gonna. I always trust karma. I think the Giants did the right thing. I think the Raiders, as usual, did the shitty thing. And I do not think that the NFL is going to take the Raiders' number one pick and just leave the Giants just sitting there to get the number one pick. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll keep my eye on what happens concerning this draft, who we do get, who we do pick, and how that all pans out.
Two comments here about the. First off, last week Jackson Dart had 33 yards passing. This week 207. So again, just going back to the whole what the fuck were we doing against Minnesota idea. And then the other thing is the thing that always comes to mind when I think about the Raiders is just win, baby.
Well,
Yeah.
They can stop. They can shut up with that bullshit.
the NFL is not going to go after the Raiders because of 2 words: Tom Brady.
Yeah. Pete Carroll too.
That's right. And
Oh,
maybe
the one
Pete
thing I
Carroll.
didn't mention in there that I thought was very interesting, I read an article about the Raiders, and they were very careful to mention that management made the call to sit those
Yeah.
players.
Of course they did.
Management.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I've never been looking before, of course, but I never remember a time when a reporter doing a story on something like that has called out the decision maker in that scenario. They were they were protective of Pete Carroll, I believe that was, and maybe even taking a shot at Brady.
They will not throw Pete Carroll under a bus. I know that for a fact. And Pete Carroll's done a horrible job this year.
Yeah.
He's stuck with Geno because I think he brought him over from Seattle, but this team has been terrible. Bowers has been on and off the field. When Meyer's on the field, he's doing pretty good, but guys, they don't even run Genti all that much. And it's like this guy is supposedly like the best running back to come out since Saquon, and they hardly give him the ball.
Yeah. I was terrified the Cowboys were going to draft that guy.
Same. Me too.
Now I wish they did.
I actually think
Because the
he's
guy
a
they
great
have now
player.
is better.
I actually think Genti's a great player, but he's not being used properly. So I don't know.
Same.
Cardone.
So you guys know how much little things in this league just annoy the piss out of me, right? I love to hate the stuff I love. This league produces multiple pet peeves on a weekly basis, and some are far-fetched, some I just go reaching for, some fall in your lap, whatever. We mentioned Romo announcing the Steeler-Brown game earlier. I like Tony Romo. I think he's one of the better announcers. So it wasn't his play call, it wasn't his game analysis or his assessment of what was going on late in that game. So that was a close game. If you guys didn't, if our listeners didn't see the Steelers, let me remind everybody, they win that game against Cleveland, who they were favored against, of course. They win the division. They didn't need any help. They didn't need anything. So that game, Pittsburgh had everything in their own power to win a division. My peeve, if I'm a Steeler fan, like I'm on pins and needles that entire second half. It was a 1-score game the entire third, fourth quarter. Eventually, the Steelers get down to the Cleveland's 10-yard line, and all Romo was talking about the entire fourth quarter was the fucking Baltimore fan base, the entire fucking second half. Did you guys notice this?
I did. Yeah,
Romo must have
now that you
mentioned
say
the Baltimore fans like 17 times. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't give a fuck. Like, if I'm a Steeler fan, what do I care about Baltimore, Romo? Knock it off. Like, Steeler fans had everything right on that game. They're in a 1-score battle against the Cleveland Browns, who they should be blowing their doors off, and you keep talking about the Baltimore fan base. Who cares? Knock it off. Baltimore did. They weren't even like. They had fine. They won the game the night before. Whatever when did they win their game against? I don't even remember now.
Against Green Bay the night before.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they won against Green Bay on Saturday night. And Romo, who again I like and respect as an announcer, I think he does a great job. He wouldn't stop talking about, breathe easy, Baltimore. Pittsburgh had 3 plays from the 7-yard line. Hold your breath, Baltimore. Not like hold your breath, fucking Pittsburgh fans. Trying to win a division, hold your breath, Baltimore fans.
But By the way, did you like how they blamed DK Metcalf for not being there because he wasn't there? Oh, that's a perfect DK Metcalf play that would have been a
Yeah.
touchdown.
Absolutely. Which that could have been PI on the fourth down play there
Oh,
in
probably should have
the
been,
back
actually.
corner of the end zone. But it was Romo was driving me crazy. He must have. It reminded me of that Al Michaels night. I don't know how many years ago when Doug Peterson fucking fucked us with the when we were 6-10. And Michaels must have mentioned, like, oh, the New York fans they can't be happy. What are you worried about us for, Michaels? Like, why don't you talk about the Redskin fans that night who won the division at 7-8 or whatever the hell their record was that year, or 6-10 or whatever the hell it was. God damn it, he kept mentioning the Baltimore fan base over and over. It's like multiple plays on the last drive. I'm like, knock it off. I don't have really an allegiance to the Steelers, of course, so I was just pissed off that this guy kept bringing up Baltimore. It just drove me crazy.
Could you imagine if you were a Steeler fan, or if that was the Giants in that game, and he kept talking about the Eagles? How angry you would have been?
Oh my God! Right, I was pissed off as it was. I couldn't imagine. Right, if I'm a Steeler fan and I'm on pins and needles trying to win a division, going in, that entire fourth quarter trying to win the game, and I got to be more concerned about what Baltimore's doing.
Yeah.
Fuck off!
Shut up about Baltimore.
Shut up! Damn it, I hate that.
I had texts from 4 Steeler fans after that game saying, "You guys deserve Tomlin. He's not going to be a Steeler." And I thought to myself, "Fuck, I'll take Tomlin. You guys hate Tomlin. Like the whole thing is that Tomlin can get them to the playoffs and no further. Tomlin won a Super Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers lost that game. No, give me Tomlin. I'll take 25 straight years of being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even if we don't advance, just give me
competitive every year, meaningful games in December.
Just give me that for 3 or 4 years, and then I can see, like, okay, why aren't we advancing? All right, maybe let's get Tomlin out of here. But just give me that as just an appetite. I need something.
The only red flag I have with Tomlin is his handling the wide receivers. I mean, his wide receivers all are batshit crazy. Like DK going off the deep end, Antonio Brown, Plaxico, all those guys. So, yeah, I mean, the list is there. But, I mean, other than that, shit, I'll take him.
Well, I also don't like that he wears sunglasses in night games, but that's another story. That bothers me for some reason.
Here's another thing. There's another guy that I've ripped on occasion because of the way he uses his running backs, and that's John Harbaugh. Why the fuck do you not run Derrick Henry like you did in that game when you needed it? Like every other, like there's been games like prior to that, the Ravens could close it out, and Henry's like not giving the ball in the entire fourth quarter. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? In this game, they finally like give it to him the entire time.
He was a beast again.
That's going to be a tough game to root for someone though, because I don't want the Dick to win, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to win. So,
Lamar Jackson
Cardone said, like Cardone's thing earlier, like not fully
never
satisfied. Happy. Never happy. You're going to be like, oh, good, they won. Oh, God, now I got to watch this team in the playoffs again.
I think the limp dick trumps all, though. Like, I don't want the Dick to make the playoffs. I
think I agree with you. I think
you got to say the Dick, because I'm not worried about either one of them making a playoff run either. But again, I think it's, what it is, Novak, when you think about it, like, here it is, like, what is it, Tuesday night now? As soon as you tune into that game, and the first time you see that smirk from the Dick, you'll be like, "No, goddamn it, you want him to lose." The moment you see that, or see him barking at an offensive lineman for missing a block or something like that, you'll root against the Dick right there.
Plus, it makes the Jets look bad for getting rid of him. So I will root for the Ravens.
I just don't see it. How do you lose to the Cleveland Browns with it all on the line, and then bounce back and beat Baltimore? Yeah, I know Baltimore's no great shakes, but they're better than Cleveland.
They've been 100%, and they're at home.
And they're at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stranger Things, right?
That'll be interesting.
Yep.
So we got questions from Peacock this week, and he asks if we touched upon this earlier. Should the NFL have a lottery? And I really don't know if we should have a lottery. I think if tanking becomes one of those chronic things where we talk about every year, we should. But to Novak's point, what I think about with the lottery, a lottery brings just as many questions as it does answers, because if it's not done transparently,
Well, it,
you're
it, it
like,
has to
well,
be.
Has to be.
Yeah.
yeah, you have to do it transparent. And
Yeah,
I
has to
love
be.
the idea of making it an event. It doesn't have to be a whole weekend, just a night
Yeah.
event. They're going to have Taylor Swift there singing, and
And
like
Well,
someone's pulling out a ball.
and you can do it in such a way that, like, unlike the NBA, you can do it in such a way where, if the by far the worst team in the league can't get screwed. I mean, you can say, the first balls in here are just the bottom four teams. You got to be in the
Yeah.
bottom four to have a shot at the number one pick, right? Yeah.
Or-
There's things you can do to make, so like, let's just say like this year, Pittsburgh just is the first team out of the playoffs, and they mysteriously get their ball drawn, and like, they have to keep that at bay, I think. But I think you could have separate picks. The first ball thing is 1 through 4, and then the second one is 5 through 10, whatever. But so no one gets hurt or rewarded too hard.
Because what's going to happen though. They're going to go to this lottery. The Jets are going to go 0-18, and the Jets are going to have 100 balls in this thing, and they're going to pick the one from the Chiefs or something, and they're going to get the number one pick.
Yeah.
So the day that of course I'm screaming for this lottery, it's going to happen. I'm going to get screwed somehow.
Yeah,
and Arch Manning's going to go play for the friggin' Dolphins or something.
But yeah, the Chiefs are sitting right now in the 9th slot. If we had a lottery, would there be any doubt that they pick in the top 3?
They absolutely right. They trade away the pick and get 7 players.
Yeah.
So Peacock also asks, sort of, we touched upon this too. He's heard Glenn is out after this year. So who's the next Jets coach? Sharon Moore?
Jeez, that's rough. I don't know that I have a better answer for who would be the next. Who the hell would want this job?
Table.
You
Dable's
say
out
that all kidding aside, I actually would love for them to bring Daboll in to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, but I don't know who the next coach would be. I don't think he's going to get fired because it's not fair, but I don't think he will get fired. I think he'll have another year, but he'll be out after next year for sure when they go 2-15.
No Saleh coming back?
Saleh.
Saleh's got to get a job.
Saleh.
I will let Saleh come coach the Giants if that's the only job he can get, because he has me back on the head coaching side.
He'll be a head coach again, no doubt.
I think so.
The other question from Peacock is New Year's resolutions for fans. So we might all have our resolutions. I'll start with Novak first.
My New Year's resolutions?
He just says New Year's resolution as a fan.
As a fan. You had to go to me first. That's hard. I don't know. I don't know that as far as being a Jet fan, a New Year's resolution, I mean, try to be positive, I guess. I don't know. Like, trust the process. I don't trust the process with the coach, but I do like the GM. Is that what he's looking for? Like what?
I have no idea. It was just worded that way.
I don't know. That's where I'm going with. Trust the process. Trust the GM. We've got to turn this around sooner or later, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go next. I mean, I think my New Year's resolution as a fan, I'm going to continue to be a dog on a bone with the officials.
No, really?
Yeah, I will. I will continue
going down a limb, bro.
Aren't you supposed to give something up, or
no. Well, I will give something up, but before that, I am going to try and find. There is a tie to officiating and gambling. I still believe. I will find it at some point, but for right now, I want to focus on the strange officiating that I see and the statistics that I can pull to say that.
Right.
Giving up something, Mike, I vow next year to be a much more sober podcaster. I really do. This year has been really bad. It's a confluence of being on bowling night, but the other part of this is just the Giants have they've sucked the soul out of me. I said this last weekend, and I said this drunk, and I re-listened to it on the podcast. And Novak's like, "We're not giving up." I'm like, "I'm giving up." He's like, "We're not giving up." I'm like, "Yeah, we're giving up." And the thing is, in many ways, the way our teams have played, I do. I want to give up. I don't because of the podcast, but in other ways, I'm like, our teams fucking suck, and they're just draining the soul out of our lives. So for me, we put good content out. I want to be aware of that. I want to be here for that. I want to be present for that. So I'm going to drink less.
Well, that's
Awesome.
great. But I've said this before, and I think you have a book deal ready to go. And the title is going to be The Cost of Officiating.
There you go. Pendant Publishing
And
with
publishing.
Mr.
Pendant
Littman.
Publishing.
The Cost of Officiating with a picture of Scott on the front, like this.
Lane Dennis can be the fact
Coffee
checker.
table book.
Or, yeah.
The
Coffee
cost
table, yeah.
analysis of officiating.
Yep.
Mike.
I resolve in this next year that if the Giants have 2 wins on Halloween, I will not give a shit the rest of the year. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. If the Giants are eliminated on Halloween, I'll still do the podcast. I'll be the pop culture guy. I'll drive Cardone nuts because we'll get on the air and I'll be like, all right, who won? Did the Giants win? That's what I'm. Cardone's going to be like, did they win? What
No, you know what
happened?
will really piss me off, Mike? If next year and I ask you randomly, who do the Giants got next week? And you're like, I don't know. You'd say, like, what kind of fan? You have no idea.
I haven't checked it.
Mike, were you out walking the dog while the Giants
Yeah.
are playing? What the fuck?
I came back. They're up by 12. What happened? Fuck you. What happened? You're walking the fucking dog in the 4th quarter.
It's 3rd and 2. We're down by 3, and you're walking the fucking dog.
Who was the guy that walked the dog? Do we know him?
I'd rather just not say.
The dog walker.
All right, Cardone, you're up.
So, it's funny. I was joking around about this. Where like New Year's resolutions are always kind of the same, and mine are involve the same thing. But I'm going the opposite. Like I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to exercise less. I'm going to because that
Drink
way,
more.
when those things happen, it's going to be like a positive reinforcement. Like I hit my goal.
It's true.
It's going to have the reverse effect where I'll be feeling good about myself. Where then I may want to actually do things with,
Yeah.
I already accomplished 3 things by the first month of the new year. Let me maybe tack on a couple other things, So I'm feeling good about this. I packed on 8 pounds in January.
If every instinct you have is wrong,
Wrong. Then the
then
opposite.
the opposite must be right.
I thought about it that way. I'm like, if I start, let me at least for the start of the year put those goals in place, and then I'll hit them easily. Like by the the first week, I'll be like,
Well,
I'm off to a great start.
6 pounds just like that.
Yeah.
Like kicking ass.
Look at my steps. Woo-hoo, I only went 17 steps today. That's awesome. Way ahead of my goal. So,
I resolved to keep my steps under 25.
yeah. Polished off a 12-pack by noon. This is awesome. But as far as my fandom, it's funny. I was thinking one of the things was not that I go to a lot of games anyway, but I almost want to just ban going to any of my team's sporting events anymore. At least for a year. Where I've had it. I'm done. I'm not even. I don't want to pay my own hard-earned money to go sit in some arena, some stadium, something like that. Not that I go to a ton of games anymore, but when I'm there, sometimes I'm like, I never win. I don't it could be an Appalachian State football game. I never walk out of the stadium woohoo, never.
Never.
I'm always miserable. Storming out of some
about
stadium. I don't want to. So I may just ban myself, as a resolution, just to no, not going. If one of you guys even says, hey, where do you want to go to a road game next year? I'm going to have to fight myself. Be like, no, not going. I made a resolution to not go to a game. Not
that's
going.
that's where I was going, Cardone. I'm like, you know what? I think we should go to a game next year. He just said that. It's like we might be in Jacksonville. You might be somewhere where we can,
I know.
go to. I'm like, let's go. Come on. Let's rally the troops.
Oh, by the
Hang it
time
up.
all that rolls around, I mean, I'd be like, woohoo! Like, of course. But I don't know. I got to
Well,
put my focus into maybe the Knicks give me a championship this year or something. Who knows? I'm putting all my chips in on the Knicks. I'm on that
Same.
team right now. Yeah.
So you know what? You know what's funny, Cardone, is like the last couple of years. Like if you remember 2 years ago, we played in Vegas, and I thought, well,
Yeah.
this will be a good game to go see the Giants. That was the game. I didn't go to it, but that was the game that Daniel Jones tore his ACL. We
Yes, it
got
was.
blown out by Las Vegas in Vegas. I'm
Mhm.
like, that would have been a shitty game to go to. You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like so every time we talk about going to a game, if it's not in Carolina or Atlanta, we really have to think about, is this really worth doing?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, so next week when we come on, we'll know next year's opponents,
Yeah.
right? So we'll get into that. Which, yeah, I already have a couple things I could bark about with that, as far as Detroit Lions being one of them. It's unbelievable that we can, it's because they're going to end up in last place. Detroit Lions are going to be in last place. That's a last place team, the Lions. I mean,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
you're right, yeah.
So we're gonna be
Detroit
at Detroit
Lions are
next
going to
year.
be last place.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are.
Holy
Absolutely.
Green Bay, Chicago.
Behind Minnesota?
Yep, because they're somehow right now they're both 8-8, and Minnesota has the tiebreaker. So that means that Minnesota they have to lose, and Detroit has to win next week for them to jump over them. That's not going to happen.
No.
Like Detroit, I don't think Detroit's going to beat Chicago.
Wild.
Yeah. So that means we're playing Detroit next year. It's incredible. Like it's stupid. Every year we don't. There's no break to this misery. There's just not.
All right, fellas. So next time we come on, it'll be past New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. But we're looking forward to talking about the playoff teams that neither of our teams are. Like I mentioned before, we're all going to be together for Super Wild Card Weekend. But before that happens, we'll know who Super Wild Card Weekend is when we come on next week. So
Do we have
that'll
to
be a
call it
talking
Super
point.
Wild Card Weekend? Can we
That's
just
what
call
the
it Wild Card Weekend? I hate
The
that
NFL
so
calls it
much.
Super Wild Card Weekend. I'm just leaning into
You
the
are.
promotion.
We're all buying in. Super Wild Card Weekend. God.
So I want to say I got these brand new headphones for those watching on YouTube. I did not
noticed
know they had flashing lights that were going to flash the
Yeah.
whole time.
You look
So
like
I'm of
Princess
effort
Leia.
getting those fixed.
What does that indicate? I saw that
I
earlier.
don't
I'm
know.
like, the hell's that
I don't
light?
think, I thought
Does
it was
yeah.
like, is it my volume? I don't think.
Maybe
I
it
think
indicates your moods. When you were talking about the Giants, they were red. So maybe that's.
By the way, guys, we went 2 hours tonight. How the fuck did we go
Yeah.
2 hours tonight?
I don't know.
We had a lot to talk about.
a
And we
lot
had
of
four of
nothing.
us.
A lot of junk.
We had two guys and a drunken one last week, so we had to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pass out this week. Woohoo!
All
well
right.
done.
All right.
All right, fellas. We'll see everyone a week from now.
All right.
Happy
Everyone
New
have-
Year.
Happy New
See ya.
Year.
I got to turn it off.